Hey guys, I'm Perry, currently rank 4 jungler in NA. I'm also an Academy slash NACL player. It's competitive, right under LCS games. Um, and today we're looking at a um, silver. Is this a silver level game? Yeah, it's a silver level game. You're currently bronze 2. Is that correct? Bronze 3,
That's
bronze
correct.
bronze 1. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're dealing with a lower average tier game. Normally, most of the sessions I provide or that I do are gold plus. Most people are emerald. So today we're gonna take a look on I'm going to be very cautious with what I say, because I feel like I don't want to confuse you really. I want you to understand that the game shouldn't feel confusing. The game should feel you should feel comfortable playing the game. It's like a fun game, but also you don't want to be stressed. You have a really healthy amount of games, and I think with some good direction, we can set you up on getting yourself to gold, getting yourself to plat, and climbing. So
Yeah, for sure.
first thing I want to break down is how familiar do you think you are with all the champions in the game and their spells and somewhat of their cooldowns? What do you think?
Um, on spells, I don't know the names, but I know kind of what they do.
Okay,
The cooldowns, I'm clueless at. I'm just
okay,
not at that level.
okay. That's something that I want to see, 'cause some people have better knowledge, some people don't. The big thing to think about is um for example, your Bel'veth E is like a 20-second cooldown. So
Yes.
most champions have those cooldowns. For example, Kayn
Mhm.
E. For example, Yasuo W, Samir W, Braum E, Kai'Sa W, Galio W. All these champions have a long cooldown in one of their abilities. And if you spot them out, you can it kind of helps your fight. But the reason why I mentioned that is because this knowledge helps you learn more about how to win fights and how to interact with your laners and enemy laners. So it's something to just kind of be more proactive when you're thinking and playing the game. Think about these small things a little bit more. If you can, maybe you like watching the game, maybe like thinking about the game. Maybe there's a streamer you like, a YouTuber you like. Start thinking about these abilities a bit more actively. Um, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Cool. And then the next thing is lane priority. So real quick, not real quick. This is gonna be actually a concept I want to talk about a little bit in depth. Um,
Go ahead.
but laners, well, waves. Actually, let me ask you this: how comfortable do you feel with looking at a wave state and seeing, okay, what is a wave? What does that mean for the game?
I'll say average. I mean, I know about freezes and slow pushes and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I can't just glance at it and tell right away,
okay,
but if I look at it, I can figure it out.
cool. So let's say they have Galio. Or let's say what's a clear example? Yeah, they have Galio. We have Yasuo. Let's say you're coming to the game and you're like, okay, Galio is going to have priority on Yasuo. What does that mean to you?
Um, to me, that means he's killing more minions and he's pushing them into the tower.
And that exists for the first three waves. What do you think happens after? Do you think Galio's gonna keep getting prio? Do you think the wave is gonna bounce back into
No,
Yasuo?
it's gotta bounce back and start pushing the other way. As soon
Okay,
as he gets into the tower, it should start moving the other way, right?
yeah, that's generally how it works. Galio can choose to do specific things to change with the waves, but generally speaking, you have a good understanding of prio, and what we want to do every single game, right or wrong, is guess. Okay, top lane. I honestly think I know who, but let's see who you think. It's honestly range matchups, and sometimes I'm unfamiliar with these champions. I don't even know who has prio. I have to guess. So between Kennen and Teemo, who do you think has prio within the first three waves?
I would say Timo does.
Yes, and it's a big factor here. We're gonna get to a little more specifically, but runes and summoner spells. How about
Hmm.
mid lane?
Uh, Mid lane, I'm gonna say Yasuo.
Yeah, I
That
think
might be even. I don't know.
I think it depends on how both people play it, but naturally speaking, um, I will have to say that Galio does it, but again, we're guesstimating. We're estimating, like we're just guessing straight up. And what we're gonna do after we go through bot lane is we're gonna go to 3 minutes in the game and we're gonna see who's right, who's wrong, kind of.
Okay.
And then how about your bot lane over here?
I think our bot lane is stronger.
Yeah, the big thing is your Lux here, range champion,
Yeah.
pretty clear.
Yeah.
Against Braum. So you said well, you saw what you said. And then we're gonna go straight to here. It's about 2 minutes 30 in the game, and we're gonna kind of see. So right now, mid's pretty even. Teemo has the
Yep.
prio. Bot lane has your bot lane has the prio. And the way you can kind of see how who has prios and whatnot, even though mid is even, your Yasuo actually has relative advantage because of HPs obviously, and because he's like closer to the wave.
Hmm.
Galio's pretty close too, but the bigger thing is like bot lane. Like bot lane is further up in the middle of the lane. Whoever's further up in the middle of the lane generally has prio. Like if you were to draw a line here, and this guy's closer to the line, this guy's further, that means this guy has relative advantage.
Right.
Okay, so we talked about prio. This is something you want to do every single game. You want to look at these champions and be like, who has prio? And the easiest rule, path to prio. Okay, nice and simple, path to prio. All right.
Sure.
Without further ado, we spent the first 5 minutes talking about this. Makes sense. Path to prio. Your top lane's not prio. Don't path top lane. Don't mess it up. Generally speaking, 90% of the time, path bot lane, especially if they have prio. Okay.
Yep.
So let's jump in and look at the actual gameplay. You get that. You got that early ward. This is good. This is very good. Okay, we go for this. We save our smite here. We want to try and double camp. One thing I recommend is if you are ever playing a no, I would just say that whenever the Gromp is up and you're still on this camp, you want to clear this as fast as possible. So generally speaking, use smite. But let's say
Okay.
Gromp barely spawns and this has like 300, 400 HP, then obviously you can save smite. But if you use your smite now, it's actually faster, and the reason for that is the faster you hit level 2, the faster you use that spell, the faster it comes up for the next camp. So you want to hit
Gotcha.
level 2 ASAP.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's go forward. So, um, just let's see how the clear looks. The clear looks pretty good so far. One thing I will have to add here is actually going W on Bel'veth is fine, but I was recommending maybe you hold off your W until you know you're ganking or full clearing, right? Because pretty much most champions, Bel'veth specifically, if I think if you go 2 points into Q and you have your E, you actually full clear faster than if you have QWE. So if you're just playing to clear all 6 of your camps, it's actually more efficient to not skill your W. But if you're planning to do 4 or 5 camps or even gank right now, obviously you want your W for the gank. The time when
Gotcha.
you skilled your W was right after you finished the camp. I want to see a little more information before I skill W.
That makes sense.
Okay. So let's continue like because I talk about an infinite amount of things. I want to see where you could have made a mistake or where you could have played a little better because everything seems pretty normal, right? You're just clearing. You're playing jungle. And one thing I missed out on actually earlier is someone has a kill. Who has a kill this game? Oh, your bot lane killed. Your also has a kill on the Kane. Okay.
Yeah,
So
they killed him real early.
yeah, yeah. So this okay, and then your bot lane also gets a double kill. Okay. So your mid is winning and your bot is winning. Right?
Yep.
It's pretty clear. You have kills everywhere. So what you want to think about is how you can help them accelerate and how you can make sure that if their jungler comes, you're matching them. Because let me ask, if you're fighting 2v2 Yasuo Bel'veth versus Galio Kane, do you think you win the mid 2v2?
I think we should. Yes.
Yeah, and then like in theory you should, right? So that's kind of how you have to look at things. And then bot lane for your 3v3, how do you feel?
I feel real good.
Real good, especially after they get these 2 kills, real good.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
want to be bot lane, mid lane, as fast as you can, um, and play around them and make sure if Kane comes, you're there, so you can stop them. All right. Okay. So
Yeah, so I kind of wasted time here, I feel, but
yeah. So let's I'll tell you I'll tell you what I would want to do, and then I'll tell you how you should think about it. Okay.
okay.
What I would do here, go here, recall, drop a word. My word will be up as I'm recalling. Run straight to my grump. Why do we want to think this way? It's because pop quiz real quick. When does your grump spawn? Do you know?
Yeah, it'll spawn about 420 or so.
Yeah, 420,
415 maybe.
415. Yeah, you know
Yep.
the timer. You want to
Yep.
be
Yep.
there as fast as you possibly can, like as fast as humanly possible. Even if you're there a few seconds earlier, it's very good for the game. Why is it good for the game? Because you want to be playing towards bot. You want to be clearing towards bot as you possibly can. So
Hmm.
even if even if you don't know why you're doing it, if you're on the camp the moment they spawn every single time, you will be actually generating like a 1 to 2 level lead on everyone else, or on the enemy jungler almost every single game. Why? Because the enemy jungler doesn't follow this rule, especially anywhere under like Emerald. Um,
Yep.
People aren't following that rule. People don't understand. How
So
is
I
how?
understand
Oh,
that,
go ahead.
and I try to do that.
Uh huh.
But if I go gank, then that's to me that's not happening. It seems like I'm always late to that.
Yeah, so if you're like 10 seconds late, 20 seconds late, like it makes sense because you're getting your gank off. But that's what you need to understand. Like, is the gank you're making worth your time? Are you getting um, a kill? Are you getting a flash? Are you getting a good wave? Um,
Yep.
but to avoid that entirely, what I fully recommend for a bronze player, okay, and someone who's also hit silver, it's really close to gold, is do not gank on your first clear unless it is very, very obvious that you will get something. So, for example, if this Braum and that Kaisa were like in our face right here, and you could just and kill them.
Hmm.
If that's the case, take it. Otherwise, don't waste time. Don't mess around. Make up your mind and recall. Um,
Okay.
I think that's like that will give you a good advantage by yourself in the jungle. But the biggest thing is when you come back from base with an item, and you're level 5 almost, or your teammates are leveling up, your teammates have also gotten their first recall, you actually have more opportunity to make a play on the map. Because we're in an ELO where things aren't like you can, in theory, you win the mid 2v2, like in theory. You guys can still mess it up, the enemy can still mess it up. Nothing's concrete, but when you have items, when you have levels, when things are a little more easier to play, the opportunity just triples, quadruples. So you have an infinite amount of more options.
Yep.
So
That makes sense.
first clear, I recommend not to gank unless it's very free. Try to get that crab, try to recall, and try to restart your clear. And then afterwards, that's when, yeah, if there's an opportunity, I want you to gank.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next thing here, after we get the support, is when Kane goes mid, we're doing two things. So you mentioned how jungle tracking is difficult for you. Actually, I need to write a few of these things down. So number one is try to make it to your camp respawn at 4:15 to 4:20 every single game. Very few exceptions. Bronze. Make things it makes things much simpler and removes a lot of wasted time. Okay. The other thing would be path to prio, bot lane. And the last thing we're about to talk about is when the enemy jungler shows. Do you know there's two things, maybe even three things you want to do every single time they show? Do
Yep.
you?
Look at him,
Uh huh.
check the buffs and his health,
Yep.
and tab.
There you go. You got all of it.
Which
Okay.
which I don't
Tab,
think I did here.
buffs. What you said? Sorry. Sorry.
I don't think I did on this
Yeah. Yeah.
game.
You
So
didn't. You didn't. You didn't. Buffs, conditions. Exactly.
yep.
You know what to do. You got it in you. You just gotta try to be active with it when you're playing. So even if you play the next few games purely practicing these concepts and not caring about win or loss, you will eventually start climbing. Recently, I've been coaching a guy for about a month and a half now. The first
Mhm.
3 to 4 sessions was more about me convincing him that hey, my methods work. Now within the last 2 weeks, he has 70% win rate, and he went from Emerald 4 straight to Emerald 1. He's about to hit Diamond. It took a
Oh,
long
nice.
time for him to like trust the things I'm teaching, which makes sense. You know, you trust yourself, but
Sure.
pretty much the concepts I'm trying to give you, they don't kick in right away. They're hard to learn sometimes. They're hard to digest. But if you practice them, you practice it with the intent of a growth mindset, it will kick in. You will learn. You will learn more about the game, and you will win more games.
Hmm.
So come at this with an open mind. Um, these concepts might feel very weird. They might be difficult. But if you lose the game here because you hold tab and you waste another 20 seconds because you're holding tab, you're clicking on them, you're figuring things out, that's fine. Don't stress. It's
Yeah.
human. It's human to
Okay.
lose games. It's human to make mistakes. It's human to be slow. Like I was bronze for 2 seasons. Like I went bronze, silver. Like we all start somewhere. So
Absolutely.
all right. So we wasted a bit of time. The next
Yep.
thing here is um, did you have to go do something or? Because we're at base
Um,
at 435, 434, and you buy items at around 450.
I have 3 dogs, so they may have
They may
interrupted
have,
you.
yeah,
I don't
okay,
know.
okay. That would make that would
There's no telling.
that would make sense. I'm guessing it must have been the dogs here. Okay. Um, that like I'm not gonna try to coach on that, but like that matters. Like to the game, like obviously the tempo of the game, like that really
Hmm.
hurts. Like it's
Yeah,
as
it
if you,
adds up over the game.
yeah. It's as if you spent an extra 30 seconds down here, which like is like, oh my god, that hurts.
Yep.
Um, so like at this timer, you should be done with all of these camps,
Hmm.
and that would
For
mean
sure.
if you clear your grump at 420, it's going to spawn at
Uh,
635.
6:35.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you clear your grump at 540, which say it's gonna spawn at
8.
755. So
Yep.
it's like instead of it being spawning at 635, that's the difference. And that's why wasted time in lower elos is game changing. Imagine you keep this tempo up, you clear it, okay, it spawns, okay, you clear it right at 6:45 because it takes a while to clear it. Then you get
Hmm.
to let me draw this up here. Then I get to shit, let's do some math. 9 minutes, right? Then you go down, then you clear it right at spawn, then it goes to 11 minutes and 15 seconds, and then so on. Versus if you delay it every single time, the spawns are going to be delayed. You will eventually have a full cycle worth of camps ahead of the enemy jungler. That's how much it compounds when you're this late to clearing.
That makes good sense.
Cool. So that's why I recommend in lower elos, you can abuse the crap out of these enemy junglers by literally following one rule, which is just clear your camps the moment they spawn, be as fast as you possibly can while clearing the camps, and after you're done with your full clear, look for opportunity, but remember, you need to return to that camp the moment it spawns.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's take a look at this fight, because this is a good counter gank. You see the guy coming. We have a bit of a what-wo with our E there.
Yeah, he was on the wrong side for me to E.
Do you think this guy's killable with an E at this HP?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Do you think if how do I say this?
I think I shouldn't have W'd right away.
That's
I
what you
should.
think right
I
here
should.
earlier.
Yeah, I should have just went in and auto attacked because I kind of wasted my W right there.
I think getting this W off makes sense. I
Okay.
think I think the mistake comes from after you Q, you. I mean, honestly, everything you do here is fine. I'll be fully honest with you. Everything you do is fine up until here. You just cannot use your E like this. That's it. Like, let's not stress it too much. Everything you do is
Yeah.
fine. You just cannot use your E here. Why? It's an execute. It's a defensive item. It's a defensive ability. Sometimes it's better to not use abilities. That's not overcomplicated though. Okay. So
Yep.
just do not use your E. It's a 20-second cooldown. Like it's essential if like now. Imagine you want to go in and fight and kill this guy. You for sure could have gone in, but it feels also very awkward to go in because you have no E.
Right.
So your W was fine. I'll say your W was fine.
Okay.
Like I would have W'd the same way you did earlier. But the
Yep.
problem here is again a wasted ability. So if I were to write 2 rules instantly for you to start applying, 2 rules instantly. Number one, make it to your camp the moment they spawn. Very few exceptions. Number two, exceptions. That's well, yeah. Number two, do not use your abilities randomly. If even if you think it's good slash will slash might help, like make sure to save abilities over using it for small things.
Okay.
You want to not use your abilities. It actually makes you apply more pressure when you just have your abilities up, or not on a cooldown when you have them up when you have them up. Using your abilities means the enemy can play a lot differently. Um, you're actually more threatening by saving your abilities.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's look at this here. You see the enemy bot lane playing crazy, and your Lux is really low HP. So one thing I would want you to do, and this is like relatively oh no, you look here. Wait, actually, you're the goat. I would look a little longer. Personally, I would click, and just keep looking. Click and look. Click and look. It sometimes can be difficult, but I would want to see a little more, like right now, to see what's going on a little bit. Um, but you did a good job actually. Like overall, you got a good amount of information. Okay, so here you do everything pretty fine, pretty normal. But what I would say is like it's actually again better to not use your W and just kill this guy naturally. And then I don't think you can kill the Braum. He's too full HP. But the idea
Yep.
is like in a world where you could, having your W is more important. So even with this Kaisa, not using your E to kill her might actually be worth more. You can Q down again, and auto her to twice, and she dies, and then Q back up and maybe even kill the Braum here.
Hmm.
Could you kind of picture that? You Q down this way,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
Q down, auto twice, Q back up, W him, Q, like, and just you can maybe destroy this guy because he's so far away from his turret.
Yep, yep.
Cool. All this looks perfectly fine. You're playing a pretty nice game. This is pretty good. I like it. Um, you're also using pings a good amount, especially when they show. Look at the dragon.
Yeah,
This
the
is
top
normal.
laner got mad at me because I didn't drop Rift up there.
Yeah. Wait. After you got top kill, you didn't buy items.
Let's edit that out. There is no telling what happened there.
I think the dogs got you this game. I think the
They may
dogs
have.
got. I was noticing. I was like, wait, you have so much gold here. What happened? But essentially, like, it doesn't like. Never mind. It changes so much. Because it gives you options. Like, and the idea is like in a game of League of Legends where, um, well, let me ask. Do you play chess or like you're familiar with how chess pieces
Yeah.
move?
Yep. Yep. Sure.
Yeah. So like in a game of chess, you have so many options, right? Like there's so many ways you can move pieces, and you can move pieces poorly, and you can kill your own pieces. Um,
Hmm.
when you play tempo correctly, when you're on the camps on spawn, when you're not holding your abilities, you're pretty much just fortifying your position over and over and over again to where you're not making any crazy advance, you're not making any crazy push, but
Yep.
you're staying stable. And
Yep.
that gives you the most amount of opportunity because guess what? The enemy has a very high probability of making mistakes. Um, and it's even more so when there's 9 players in the game. Like your teammates can make a mistake, almost kill themselves into the enemy, and right away the enemy can make an even worse mistake right back. Like that's the type of game League is.
Hmm.
In
For
in
sure.
chess, it's like if you make a mistake, like you're like I will destroy you afterwards. But in League, like no, you guys can be making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. The whole point is to be as stable as you can, so you can capitalize on all of its mistakes when other people are making them. Your teammates, the enemy, doesn't matter who it is. You be as stable as you possibly can be.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that was embarrassing.
You're good, man. Shit happens. I like people at Worlds forget to buy the jungle item. Like it's like
Yes, I know. I
you
saw
know
that.
you hear the
Yeah.
stories. Like it's bad. It's bad.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah. Don't worry too much. Um.
I'm not.
Yeah. So but okay. So then here you're with your balling and this is good. Like again like let's see if you look. I think you look maybe almost. Like I swear like you everything you're seeing is actually like you're actually seeing good things. I just need you to use F keys. I actually don't recommend F keys. I recommend using your cursor, bringing it
Hmm.
down, clicking once, then going back to your character. So what I use is I keep my camera unlocked, and then I use W, sorry, not W, spacebar to recenter my camera onto myself.
Yep.
And I would just recommend like just try your best to try and look at what's going on because like I mentioned, Braum's E is very long cooldown. Kai'Sa's E and Kai'Sa's W is very long cooldown. If you see them use these spells before you go for the gank, it's actually like it can actually change the way you play this fight like drastically. So to know that information is like huge.
Hmm. Yeah, I have a bad habit of just going into lane and not looking.
Yeah, just gotta double check. Just gotta double check. But like the most of the time, all these plays, like you're in the right areas and you're in the good place. So let's say like this is what you're talking about. You had a good early game and you feel strong and um things are looking good for you this game. Let's see kind of how or where the game gets rough and how we can kind of close the game out.
Okay.
Wow, that Samira is that Samira has lost his mind or what? That is crazy. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
that you had to experience that.
Yeah, that's very common.
Wow, that's demented. Okay, anyway, so aside from that, your cannon dies. You just came off a map. I would just be clearing here too. You see your Yasuo. He's in danger. He's running into like many people. Um, yeah, one thing I would say here is like this is also wasted time. Um, like sometimes you just can't help your teammates, and it's actually better for you to not run around and try to help them. It's actually better for you to just
Hmm.
do your camps. Um,
Yeah.
so I would just be doing my Raptors here. I would just be my Crooks here. My teammates are going to in. That's fine. I can still carry the game later on, like for sure. You're in a really good spot to carry, and obviously these guys are the enemy team is making a lot of mistakes, so you can capitalize really hard. And again here, that's the same concept I talked about earlier. Your Q is an easier spell to use. You can also just auto attack this guy. Like I wouldn't want to use my W, just because like let's say Braum, he's pretty far up, and I can like make it to him. I auto this guy, and then I can Q and then Q, and then I'll have my W up to try and kill the Braum. So it's the same thing from
Yep.
earlier. Okay, you get that kill. Timo is doing Timo things. You guys kill Timo. You're playing these fights pretty well. I'll give you credit. Like like it's looks pretty good.
Thanks.
What is your W though? Oh no! See, that's like if you just had that ability, if you just had it, makes the difference.
Yep.
It makes such a big difference here. Like such a big difference here. Cause you'd feel comfortable just walking at that guy, well, unless I think you're dodging maybe a Timo shot or something. I'm not sure why you queued it down here. I'll be honest. Maybe because you think he's going to run this way.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. But the big thing is like regardless, you'd feel comfortable just walking towards him and like throwing your W out at him, and then it would give you a Q reset, and like it makes a big difference. Or you can try and 1v1 this guy while these guys 1v1. Um, but yeah, it really fucking sucks. Okay, one thing I will say is look at how much damage that Galio ult did. 328, bam, like ground pound slam on you. If
Yeah.
you see this and walk out of it or Q out of it even, like you're going to have that much more HP, which like makes the difference.
Hmm.
So well, especially when you see abilities like this, you gotta try and like the best way to put it is you gotta try and respond and react to abilities in your face. Whatever happens in your face, you respond. So here, you're just like you see it coming and you're standing still. You're just like, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it to the face. I'll take all of it. If you respond, the play looks a little better because your Yasuo is coming and you have like 300 more HP here. Is the difference in HP?
Yeah. I could have stayed if I'd had that.
Yeah. Even here, so your HP is actually a tool. Like, and if you die here, it's also actually like completely fine. Like you're just like it's okay if you die. You know, it's like yeah, again, I'll use chess reference for example. It's like you're trading the knight for like the queen. You know, like if you die here and kill these guys, it's okay. You obviously
Hmm.
don't want to try and kill yourself. You don't want to die. But the idea is like what I'm doing here is these guys are very far away from you. I would just stand here. I would not want to go that far away. Why do I not want to go that far away? Because then I can't interact with the fight. In about 5 seconds, when you have your abilities up, if Yasuo is still fighting here, which he will be, I can help
Hmm.
him.
Yep.
So I've seen you do this like maybe 2, 3 times now. And there's a fight earlier where you're actually playing a little too safe. You're actually removing opportunities. So again, I mean it's chess. You're actually moving your pieces too far away to where you're actually losing control over the chessboard, and you're giving them too much free space.
Yep.
Okay. Otherwise, like you also smurfs it up. You get that objective. And then this guy's like in your face. So you're obviously let's try to kill him. Sure, sure, sure. Um, let's think about. Okay, so what I want you to start thinking about, just generally speaking, is everything you have so far. If you're able to replicate this multiple times, you have a good baseline, and there are like smaller things you can continue or you can do more of, but you have a very good baseline so far. Um, um, the only next thing you can start to try and do is think about items and objectives. So always be thinking actively about items and objectives. So what I mean by items is I mean your item. How close you are to getting this item. And now I don't know the exact amount Stridebreaker is, but like I think you're really close. It's like 1850 in this gold amounts. Um,
Probably.
let's see. You go to your shop. Yeah. Oh, you also have futures market, so it's even more important. Yeah, it's 1850. So so all the way back here, you break this mid turret. Okay. You just walk up and all your little pets are just blah 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 like. Wait, do you break it with your pets? Oh no, wait, how do you get so
Mm.
much gold here? You get the Rift Herald kill. You got the whole wave. Oh, what am I saying? You got the whole wave. You kill the
Right.
Cannon and everything. But then after you get the wave, that's great. What you can do is you can do one of your camps and then Futures Market buy your item. Let's say you don't have Futures
Hmm.
Market, you can just do 4 camps and get your item. Or if you want to fight the dragon, you can fight the dragon. But the idea is you're essentially fighting over nothing right now. And you have 1.5k gold in your pocket, so even though you feel strong and you are strong, you actually are 1.5k gold weaker than what you could be.
Sure.
So, um, pay more attention to how close you are to hitting your item spikes. The big thing the item spikes do, again, I'm just gonna keep emphasizing how important it is it makes your game, the opportunity you have, that much easier, but it makes things like simpler because you're gonna fight. You're gonna have 2 items. They're only gonna have 1 item, maybe one and a half. You're just going to be stronger. That means you can fuck up that many more times within the actual fight.
Sure.
So it's just yeah. I mean, so it's just like um, it gives like a crutch in a sense, but it's also like the more effective way of trying to win. Like, why wouldn't I play for my item when like I could take a 50-50 fight mid or I could just take a 70-30 later on and drop a dragon, drop a turret, drop something. Um,
Hmm.
in this case, you're not really dropping much. You're just dropping the dragon probably, but maybe not even. You can do 1 camp recall. Maybe they don't pull it. You can fight the dragon after. But the biggest thing, and this is like something that like a more I won't say advanced, but like a concept I want you to start thinking about act proactively is try to actively think about um your teammates and their strengths. Who is ahead slash behind? So in this game, I think Yasuo and Kennen are your besties. Let me see. You gotta hold a tab eventually. One time, there we go. Yeah. Yasuo and Kennen are your besties, and I would say either are fine to play around. You're probably one of the more fed people. But these guys are your besties. So if there's ever a fight where it's like you Samir Lux versus Kane Kaisa Braum, it's not a good fight. But if you're playing you Yasuo versus Kane Galio, your odds are just that much higher to win because you're playing with a better teammate. You're playing with someone who's stronger, not someone who's so much weaker.
Hmm.
So that's something I want you to start actively thinking about more often. What happens here is in this whole mid fight, this whole mid sequence, you your Yasuo is top lane right now. So when you take this fight, your Lux is like dying or losing HP and everything, your Yasuo's not here at all. So now your Kennen has actually used his ultimate, your Lux is 0 HP, you're 70% HP, and your Yasuo just now wants to fight. So now this fight is down so much conditions to where I don't want to fight this period. Alternatively, you have Herald here as well. If they do the dragon, okay, this is like somewhat um I wouldn't say advanced. I mean, yeah, it's somewhat advanced. If they do the dragon and you go top lane and you use Herald with, especially you're playing Bel'veth, you can just break that whole top turret.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and you also local gold on turrets is worth so much more now that like it's even more OP to kind of play the trade dragons for these tier 2 turrets. Like that's like such a huge gold influx for you and Yasuo. You guys are just gonna again be 2 items while they're at one item, 1.5 item. It's gonna make a big difference. So, two big things here is no point of fighting mid wave. You have your item, and if you do want to fight, it better be with your Yasuo or Kennen, not with this Lux, who's um, not that strong.
Right. Okay.
Um, so then yeah, so when this breaks out, you have your mythic item here, but you're also taking um a 4v5, if even a 4v5. Um, I personally don't even think this champion is worth anything without his ultimates, but also like it's not even 4v5 because this guy's half HP. You start the fight with barely like you start the fight with 70% HP. Now Braum is effectively dead, sure, but like the whole point is like either side can win here on any given day. Like if you piss Smurf, I think you can win this. If enemy team piss Smurfs, they'll win it. The problem is like I don't like these odds ever. I don't like the odds of on a given day like either side can win. What I want to play is like what's going to give me the most odds to winning this game, and what that's going to be is you get your item, then you take a fight. You take a fight. You try to generate a numbers advantage or whatever advantage you want to generate, but you want that item first. So the whole fight, the whole sequence is much easier.
Gotcha.
Um, but other than that, I think that'll be your biggest problem in the mid game. Um, if this is a problem like consistently where you have a decent early game, which it looks really good, I would say, and you're not playing for your items, the game is just going to look like chaos sometimes, especially when you have these leads.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say a lot of times I go into a team fight and probably a team fight I shouldn't, and I just get wiped,
hmm
and then the rest of the team is just dead.
hmm Yeah, it happens. It's normal. Um, it's like some of the team fights, even when you have items, you're still going to lose. Like honestly, it
Yep.
happens. You get hit by abilities, they all focus you, or you misstep, your teammates misstep, you're just gonna lose. But at least with that extra item, you have that much more opportunity to try and win.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
it's just all about for me. It's just all about putting yourself in the best position possible, yourself, no one else. But also, if you can look even further, okay, we can go somewhere even more advanced and look at our teammates' items, right? And we see how. Let's see when you hold tab. How right now your Yasuo is like pretty close to Infinity Edge, or your I mean that's really it. Like your Yasuo's really close to Infinity Edge. If you and Yasuo both hit your second item and you fight, like that's even better odds, you know.
Hmm.
So those are like even more things you can probably think about. But again, to not overstress you, to not like the game should be simple. These are like concepts I don't want to be stressful to think about. To not overstress you, these 3 rules right now will make a big difference.
Okay.
So then I'll make a side note here where it's like do not fight over random things ever. Never play for kills. So the three key points would be waves, objectives, and tempo. And do you understand what all 3 of these kind of mean?
Yes.
Okay. This is the
And I
three.
think you said that in every video.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at waves, you get information, you play for those objectives, don't overcomplicate the game, don't play for kills. Tempo helps with all the above. Okay, and then the one key mid game point, find your strong teammates and play around them. Do not make plays with weaker teammates. Sometimes the weaker teammates might be better to play with. You might feel like it's better to play with. Like it's just cope. Like I don't know. Like it's just coping in game. Like oh my guy's a weak and I want to play with him. Like basically at the end of the day, like if you play with the guy who's more fed, even if it's slightly, or he looks better, he's playing better, or I feel like more comfortable around him, you will just have a better game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So these are kind of the early game points, the mid game points, and then otherwise it's like game specific things. But I would say like at this point when you lose the dragon, you don't get anything, you don't get much in response, and with how your Balian is playing, the game is sort of out of your control now. Like not entirely, like you could still clean this game up, and the way I would try and clean the game up is by using my pings. So I know Samira's like he's gone a bit demented. The only way I would try and like balance out the the game is by like pinging the Samira a lot. So in the early game you were using a really good amount of pings. In the mid game it doesn't change. You got to use a lot of pings too.
Okay.
And where do you direct your teammates actually doesn't matter. What you're paying attention to is if someone is playing too aggressively. Actually, Samira got the team kill, so sure. But if someone's playing too aggressively, like the Samira, or if someone's doing something that you think is like very risky, you actually want to tell them to not do it by just pinging them. And that way,
Okay.
you might not be getting an insane advantage because you're not playing the macro sequence perfectly, but at least you're not losing the game because your teammates are inting. So focusing on trying to use your pings more because you were doing good in the early game. Focusing on trying to use your pings more in the mid game is another really, really big key thing to think about.
Okay.
Okay, let me write that down real quick. I'll just write it as notes. Let's use your pings. Use your pings proactively. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I had to check. Okay, so this Kane comes to kill himself. Sounds good. We take those kills. Um, we see something going on mid lane. I kind of want to stop them. See, this is good. You play this well. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Are you like the goat or what? Like you just
No.
Nah. Either way though, like even though I know you weren't trying to dodge this, everything you do here is actually really good. Like this whole sequence, like your fighting is good. Like I'm telling you right now, your fighting is good. That is not your problem so far. At least from what I've seen this game. Let's see what happens here though. Maybe it gets worse. Like it happens. Like sometimes it can get um worse. Ooh, okay. So I think your biggest problem is knowing not your limits, but knowing how to space and how like where you should be standing while you're waiting. So all these fights, you when you're in the fight, you play it like up to a good standard. But when like there's not a fight and you're waiting and you just like you it kind of seems like you're getting lost. So right here, we freeze frame it right when he Zanya's. What do you think you should do?
Um, go after the Kaisa maybe? I don't. I don't know.
You don't know. I mean, if you don't know outside of the game, it's gonna be a hard game. So like, just tell me, like, what would you do if you're trying to replay this exact picture? You put yourself in the spot. What would you do now? Now that you see the picture,
I would probably queue down into the river.
and just run.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. And it showed. Like you did that. You queued down and you were like running away, or you're ready to just walk away. Okay. So what I would do, and again, um, I will try to explain, is this guy 300 HP. If I stand here, so this guy is range champ, right? So he needs to walk
Okay.
up. So you can either be here, you could be here. You just want to keep your distance. But the reason why I'm here is to get my Q off. A Q auto kills this guy. If I
Hmm.
eat my if I get the ult passive, I also heal a shit ton of HP. Things like 300 HP, 400 HP. But the big thing is your next Qs are coming up soon as well. So if Kai'Sa walks too far forward, you can get on top of her. But the big thing is this guy is dead. So kill him.
Okay.
Like when someone is dead in your face, you should try to kill them. Like, okay, like I know I'm making it sound like crazy, but like the reason is not to actually win the fight here, but I want you to learn how to look for more of these opportunities. You're playing too safe. It's actually something I noticed right away in your KDAs. And again, this is not a bad thing. It's just something I'm noticing. It's not a bad thing. You're actually, so if we were to our spectrum real quick, you're actually like averaging very few deaths, which is like really good for a bronze player. So generally speaking, if I were to draw this out, and here I'm gonna make the screen black real quick. So generally speaking, if we had like a little line, okay, or like a hold on, let me draw it like this, and this is like overkill, and then this is like too safe. Most people are like here. This is obviously the middle.
Yep.
Most people are like here, or and some are like here. Like I've had some people like I don't know what they're doing. Like they're over here. Right now, you're like piss chilling over here. If you were to kind of image it like that, you're just like so safe. You don't want to die. You don't want to deal with it. I want you to try and push yourself in these fights. Try to feel a little uncomfortable, feel a little more risk, and be okay with it, so you can kind of see what it feels like to be over here. It's great to know when to do both, but the big thing is I don't want to push you all the way over. I just want you to be here. So on either spectrum, if you think you're like you're right now, obviously you're safe. But if someone else, if a different person thought that they were too overkill, the idea is I would want them to not be here, but to be here, so you can have a balance and it's not too much. Regardless, you don't want to change how you're playing. How you're playing is fine. I just want you to explore more. You're way too safe. That's not a
Okay.
bad thing. I just want you to explore how you can kind of change that a little bit. But like, keeping your nature, keeping your habits is a good thing. Like work with that skill because that is actually an insane skill for a level for yourself. Like 99% of people are like they force way too much. They go way too deep.
Okay. That all makes sense.
Cool. And then the big thing is so you can learn, and then in the future you can kind of um, really find your balance and on what you like to do. Okay, real quick, is your herald expiring here?
Yeah, it expired.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we got it way earlier and we didn't drop it. That's right. Um, okay, so you drop it, right? But you're like you need a recall. So just drop it and recall.
Okay.
It's actually worse to do this. So this is another rule I'm gonna add. And then I'm just gonna reference chess for the last time. Maybe not. So let's say you're playing against a good player. Or let's say you're playing against not a good player. Let's say you're playing against a player, you're even skill. Let's say you're playing against a player who like only worries about building their how do you call it? Like their moving their pieces so they're getting better formation. Like um fuck I don't know the word. They're just
They're
they're
more
just go
they're
so
more
go
tactical.
more tactically, but like instead of trying to attack, they're actually just like building their pieces together. Like they're moving their knight, they're bringing their bishop out, they're bringing their rook, they're castling. Instead of trying to attack, they're fuck. I don't know the word. Sorry. But the idea is like when you see people play like that, it's actually frustrating, especially in a fast-paced game like League of Legends. It's even worse when you see someone play really safe. It can piss people off. So you're playing things safe when it comes to fights, and that's good. I think that's actually a great thing. I think you have a great way of fighting. I just think when it comes to your decisions, sometimes you also need to not force things. It's better, the same way I'm telling you, it's better to hold your spells. It's better to not force things. If you're in a position where you're down hundreds of gold, dragons, heralds, it's still better to not force things, generally speaking. Of course, at the highest level, or like when you get really deep into specifics, like sometimes if in order to win, you do need to force things, but I don't even worry about it. If it's a game where you don't force things and you just lose, like it is what it is.
Okay.
when you are low HP, you have to recall your bad tempo. Don't stay on the map for something that like you could get. Just recall and then restart. You actually have more opportunity once you recall.
Okay.
And you'll see, I have these rules, and I'm like 99% of the time, or most of the time, or like very few exceptions, because it's a game of League of Legends. Like, there's so much variability, and the biggest thing is there's outplay potential. So if you play things like faker level mechanically, like you could break like all these rules. Like you could break
Absolutely.
all these one by one. But like I'm just trying to build fundamentals, build a
Yep.
baseline, so then you have like a linear path of improvement.
Got it.
Because also if we die here, we lose Baron. It's 20 minutes in the game. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So in the mid game, you do not want to put yourself in bad positions. If you think about it that way, dying equals they get Baron every single time. You'll play a lot safer. Like you already play safe, but like just your macro part, you need to be safer as well. I will tell you, it is so frustrating if you're Kane here and you're like, man, this Bel'veth is just running away from me. Like that's what this guy thinks. This Bel'veth is just running away from me. Like it's like good. This is a good thing, okay? And then he goes too far deep, and then you can turn him, you can kill him. Again, holding your W there. But hopefully that makes sense. Like don't go and start killing yourselves every single fight. I just want you to be a little more aggressive, just a little bit more.
Good. Okay.
You got a good thing going on for your fighting.
Got it.
Ooh, he also didn't tap his R. Beautiful, like really beautiful. Like oh that guy's that's an enemy. Oh, even this is so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Like you're literally playing game 45 and you're playing well. Because Samira is like just purely inting.
Yeah, she's way tilted.
Yeah.
I don't know why though.
I think I think it was like there was like that one play where you heralded bot and you took her wave, and I'll explain real quick like why she's frustrated. Um, and it's not like a you problem, but it's just like makes sense now. You can kind of see. So you get these kills. She dies. She also loses lane the whole time. And then her wave is actually like on her side right now, right? So it's gonna like freeze into us, and she's gonna come back and she's gonna collect like majority of the next waves. But when you like push out the wave, what's gonna happen? She's gonna respawn and she has no waves to eat. So now from base, she's like look at her. She's like she wants to come ball lane, but then she realized no one's there, so then she just goes top lane.
I guess I screwed up her lane.
Like in a sense, yeah, I think it's actually not a bad thing to do because you're going to you have a lot of carry potential this game, but um essentially you didn't have to drop Herald like that. Like you didn't have to. You didn't have to eat your
Yeah.
wave. You didn't have to do that. And I think that's probably why she's frustrated. I'm just trying to explain why it's like not the greatest because it can tilt people. Um,
Yep. Yep.
but otherwise, like this game, like I am happy. Like I am impressed. Like I'll be honest, I am impressed. You played a good game. The biggest things is like you literally lost so much time in the early game. It's unreal. And it just made the rest of your game like you could have three items here. And kind of towards the mid game as well. When you don't have strong teammates, so this game obviously you hold tab. Like this game is pretty fucked up. When you don't have strong teammates, the only thing you can really do is farm. Farm your camps, suffer a little bit. You're gonna lose turrets. You're gonna lose objectives. Farm your camps, get to three items, and then maybe you can win a fight. Just try.
Yeah.
So when you're behind, don't forget that like if you farm camps, you can get items. Maybe win a fight. But like your entire team is like playing bad, playing bad, playing bad. Like this is one of those games where like there is a lot for you to have done better this game, but you walk away from this game feeling like, man, I did good. That's it. Like I did good. I can improve on these other things. These guys don't matter.
Yep.
That's the thought. That's the thought process. That's the growth mindset. Like I did good. I'm going to keep trying to play like this every single game. You do that, you're easily 60% plus win rate. Ideally more, of course, but like you realistically, you're never getting past 80% win rate. Like
Yeah.
that is like unrealistic standards. But the goal is to get
Yeah, I'd be
past.
happy at 60.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like if you try to replicate games like this where you add the things we talked about, you be on those camps, you stop wasting abilities, you start playing a little more aggressively, and you try to use your pings in the mid game. You try to use your pings. You try to focus on objectives a little bit more. Your gameplay will look good. Will look better, like much better
Sure it
than I
will.
already saw.
Yep.
All right, do you have any questions?
Not for this game. No, I think I like these comments.
Cool,
I would not have seen some of these, so it's great.
awesome. Um, if anything comes up, DMs are always open. I respond as fast as I can. If you want to schedule another session, feel free. Just keep me in the loop. I would probably recommend though, like don't for the next week. Like test these things, see how they feel. But again, if you have any questions about these things, let me know.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, perfect. I really appreciate it. This is good stuff.
Awesome, man. All right. Um,